citizen need to be about keeping these commandments.
This is not what I expected out of them.
The true Bible, the book of our fathers.
Right. The Most High has given us guidance on what we need to do.
It's Officer Eli.
It's also Nahshon.
Officer Ezekiel.
Hey, Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ bless. We're back for another episode of the Bible, the book of our fathers. I'm your host tonight. I'm Officer Eli. To my right,
Officer Ezekiel.
Shalom, Israel. Also Nahshon.
Shalom, Officer Kazdiel.
hey, welcome back, Israel. Hey, I know y'all missing the captains and the bishop tonight, but we got another good show for you tonight. All praises to the Most High. All right, so let's go ahead and read the disclaimer before we get into this good butter on the biscuit.
Yes, sir. Israel united in Christ. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a non-violent Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat as stated in Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1.
And that's a shame we got to read that before every episode. We got to read the fact that we're coming out of the Bible, but we got to justify the Bible's means, but everybody has a Bible on their table.
Right.
So the title of the show tonight is called The Diabolical Beast, okay? The cause and effects. We're peeling back the banana of slavery, okay? And that seems weird because in order, the peel of a banana is to protect the nutrients inside. So you have to really think about what we lost through slavery and what this diabolical beast did to us,
Right.
and how it transcended throughout our generations to the fact that now we're really now trying to put back a nation together from nothing, from scratch.
Right.
I want to get into articles. We're going to have videos for you. We got a great show for you, a lot of information. So we want y'all to sit back, relax. Please take notes. All right. Let's start with the first article. Get the Kaplan. Get the Academy. Let's start with that one first. Let's look at the hypocrisy of this diabolical beast. All right, let's put that on the screen. All right, let's read the overview.
Transatlantic trade overview.
It's called what?
The transatlantic trade
Go ahead.
overview. During the colonial era, Britain and its colonies engaged in a triangular trade, shipping natural resources, goods, and people across the Atlantic Ocean in an effort to enrich the mother country.
You see how interesting that is?
Right.
What? I'm confused.
read it. Now, Kaplan, Khan Academy. This is a pretty much a prestigious online university. You can, I go in there sometimes to look up different things, whether it's from math, science, or whatever. So now, if you're looking at this website. This is what, humanities. So anybody that's in humanities class, as far as our teenagers and youth, when they read this, they're not going to understand that this was slavery going on.
Right. They make it seem so professional and
Yeah, this is economy.
Yeah,
Right.
they slid people in there.
Yeah, they just they slid it on the back
end.
and people.
Like that go together.
Yeah.
Resources, goods, and people.
Right.
Come on.
Hey, we got to really pay attention to it. Go ahead, Sean.
No. I was just saying that title right there, would you call him the diabolical beast? He tried to confuse you with everything. That's why this is the land of confusion, transatlantic trade. Well, what happened to the slave trade? Because you said people.
It says people, but that's not. It doesn't say slaves. It says people, as if that's today would be called trafficking.
Right.
But they just slid it in there like, hey, yeah, this was goods and resources and people too. All right, go ahead, officer.
Read it again.
Yeah, let's start from the top.
During the colonial era, Britain and its colonies engaged in a triangular trade, shipping natural resources, goods, and people across the Atlantic Ocean in an effort to enrich the mother country.
So they're stating as if they're doing this to do what? To build up Africa, right? But it says, what does Britain and the colonies have to do with Africa?
Right. Nothing.
Nothing, right?
Right.
Let's continue reading.
Trade with the Europeans led to far-reaching consequences among Native American communities, including warfare, cultural change, and disease.
So in order for all of these things to transpire, it says these people, they're saying far-reaching consequences, meaning these are the effects that happen to this nation for these particular people to get the economic growth that they had. It's saying that the Native American community had to suffer warfare, cultural change, and disease, smallpox and the stuff that they gave them. Come on.
Hold on 1 second, officer.
Yes, sir.
Because that warfare, cultural change, look how they worded warfare. First came the warfare, then the cultural change, meaning they broke them. They broke them to do how they wanted them to do. You know, they broke. They almost exterminated the Native Americans. Okay, and disease. When they broke them, then they gave them disease.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Which was a part of the warfare. That was biological warfare back then. Before they could do what they're doing now with you know the what they got going on now.
Yeah, the thing.
You know, the thing and all the other stuff they got going on. That's biological warfare. They started that back with the Native Americans. Okay, go ahead, officer.
Go ahead. Yeah, that's it. I just want to. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to touch on also in the beginning part where it says during the what's that?
Colonial era.
Colonial era, Britain and its colonies, engaged in triangular trade, shipping natural resources, goods, and people across. Hey, the Bible speak about that too. Can we pull one script real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Revelations chapter 18, start at verse 2, just so we see who we talking about real quick. So we can get to understand who this chapter is talking about. Revelations chapter 18, verse 2, and then jump to verse 12. Because it's going to mention the same things. The natural resources, the goods, and people. Go ahead.
The book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen.
So that's what we're talking about right here. Babylon the Great was right here in America. Babylon the Great, the land of confusion. Go ahead.
Babylon the Great is fallen. Is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils. And the hold of every foul spirit.
It said it has become the habitation of devils. Because at one time, the natives had it. But what did it say right here? That they committed warfare. They committed biological war against the natives. Now, it's inhabited by devils. Go ahead, read on.
And the hold of every foul spirit. And a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Now, jump to verse 12 so we can get into the same things that this article is mentioning on this transatlantic trade. No, it's the transatlantic slave trade. We ain't confused. Go ahead.
The merchandise of gold and silver.
So these are the things that got America to where it's at now. The merchandise of gold and silver, the goods, natural resources. Read on.
And precious stones, and of pearls, and fine linen, and purple, and silk, and scarlet, and all fine wood.
Right. Keep going.
And all manner vessels of ivory, and all manner vessels of most precious wood, and of brass, and iron, and marble, and cinnamon, and odors, and ointments, and frankincense, and wine, and oil, and fine flour, and wheat, and beasts, and sheep, and horses, and chariots.
Stop right there. Stop right there before Nahshon makes his point. All of these things globally make up an economy. Because you're going to have certain areas that specialize in these particular things. You're going to have certain areas that specialize in this, right? So all of the things before we get ready for Officer to bring out what we're really going to name, that they were trading, that they're trying to mask under natural resources, we know that these things were traded. It says that they brought these things to Solomon. Okay? They said that, hey, Egypt brought Solomon this, and this. He got from Lebanon, he got trees and so forth and so on. So we know that these were natural resources that were traded in history. Here's the difference. Go ahead, officer.
Right. So all these things that was mentioned, they just summed it up in natural resources. They summed it up in goods. But what we're talking about is America in the transatlantic slave trade. Go ahead and read that last part.
and slaves.
See, what did it say? Babylon was had sold merchandise of what?
And slaves.
And slaves. And slaves. Now you gotta, going back to the title, also now you got a cause and effect of those slaves that they created.
Right.
You know, there's a cause and effect, and we're gonna get more into that cause and effect of. Go ahead, finish it off.
And souls of men.
And souls of men, souls of you Israelites, souls of you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. They destroyed you, took your mother tongue, your land, and everything. That diabolical beast.
The beast.
Go ahead, officer.
Let me, you mind if I pull another one?
Please.
I want to back up Officer Nahshon. Let's go to Ezekiel 28:1. And let's get it, because it sums up this article to a T.
Right.
Watch this. Ezekiel 28, start with 1.
And this is why they don't want you to know history.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you know history, you can easily line history up with the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
If you muzzle the water, okay, if you muddy the water a little bit, then now what they're saying is kind of it's a broad brush.
If you take it away, and then you don't have nothing to go on.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you erase it, then it don't line up with the scriptures.
Right. So instead of saying slaves and you say people, you know, it's kind of like, oh, well, you know, you can justify it. It seems it's belittling.
It can be anybody.
It could be anything.
Right.
Indentured servants, all this other stuff that they're talking about. But when you say slaves, now you have the biblical references to say, no, these were Israelites that they were trading.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Go ahead, officer.
Go ahead.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 28, and verse 1. The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus.
And that prince of Tyrus is going to that same diabolical beast. Read on.
Thus saith the Lord God, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am God.
What did they say?
I am God.
How do they say they are God today? Okay, they paint the pictures of the Most High as so-called white man, of Christ as a so-called white man, as an angel as so-called white man.
Yep.
I sit in the seat of God, in the midst of the seas. Yet thou art man, and not God.
Read that part again. Yet thou art a man.
Yet thou art a man, and not God.
So they not God. Read on.
Though thou set down thine heart as the heart of God.
Read on. Let's read on down.
Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel.
So that's what I saw when I read this article right here. Thou art wiser than Daniel, meaning these people have to be a wise people to come against the people, because the Gad and the native so-called Native Americans, they weren't no imbeciles.
Right.
They weren't a dumb people.
Think about just how dumbed down they did us in education, and we're going to bring that out. Was when you think about the Aztecs, the Mayans, and the pyramids and the things that they built, when you look at Apocalypto and some of these different things and the ruins, couldn't no dumb savage community make these type of buildings without any type of knowledge whatsoever.
Right.
You had to have some architectural intelligence to do that.
Right.
They can't even replicate the stuff that they was making back then with all of the tools and advancements in technology. They can't even replicate it.
Right.
Just think about that.
Right. They don't even know how they built the they built the pyramids today.
They haven't built one damn pyramid yet, other than in Las Vegas.
It can't be done. And that's just a building that's shaped like a
pyramid.
That's a building shaped like a pyramid.
Hey, and I like this one part right here where it says says they are wiser than Daniel, right? Because in this article, you're looking at the effects of that right now, the transatlantic trade. Why is to manipulate you and throw you off so you don't even realize that it's talking about you, Israel. You think that it's talking about, it could be talking about anything, transatlantic trade. And then it's talking about selling people. Well, hold on. That sounds like the slave trade to me. But right here in Ezekiel, it says they are wiser than Daniel. Why? Because they're going to manipulate you.
Right.
Try to confuse you.
Right. And without the Bible,
you're going to be confused.
You're going to be confused. That shows you how they're wiser than Daniel. You want to say?
No, I'm done.
Read on.
Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee.
Read on.
With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches.
So we're reading about the riches that they got, the natural resources, goods, people. Okay, read on.
and has gotten gold and silver into thy treasures.
That's what Officer Nahshon was just bringing out about all the things they gained for the read the last verse right here, 5.
By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic. Hast
No,
thou
don't go over that. By thy what?
by thy great wisdom and by thy traffic.
What were you trafficking?
Right.
You were trafficking the Israelites.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay, come on.
By thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches.
Because go ahead.
No,
Officer.
you bring it out.
Because the way they got lifted up was, think about the advancement that they made in 300 years.
Right.
Okay, think about the technology that has increased in just 300 years of them being in this country. Okay, go ahead, Kaz. It seemed like you got something.
I do. I got a video we could play after this, or do you want to? I could pull it right. It's right. It goes
done with that
perfectly with what you're saying right
no,
now.
I just want to bring out a point. He said, by thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Meaning, after they didn't gather all this stuff to themselves, now you have America.
Right.
You know, like you said, the technological advances, the weaponry, you know what I mean?
Right.
And now their heart is lifted up. That's it.
Right.
And now they want to let you go and tell you to pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Right.
And you're supposed to catch up.
Yeah, quit crying.
Right, quit crying.
They took all of your inventions, peanut butter, traffic lights, all this different stuff.
Yup.
They took it from you
Yup.
just to give you a little bit of freedom, and they're gonna tell you, pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Diabolical beast.
Hey,
Beast.
grab that video. Now I've seen this video. We watch this video all the time.
Yep. Excellent video.
Right. The unequal opportunity race. Right. In this video, you're gonna see exactly what the officers are bringing out about how the so-called white man, the enemy, has set themselves up for success while simultaneously setting us up for destruction. Go ahead, play the video. Structural, pause it. It says structural discrimination, the unequal opportunity race. Structural discrimination. Right? That is systematic oppression.
Right.
That's the same thing. Go ahead, play it. So you got Jake and you got Esau. I said, hold up. 1492 on, look.
Bang.
Slavery, broken treaties, genocide. Look at that. See the batons?
Now, mind you, 1619 is when they brought Judah over, right?
Yeah.
So even before they got Judah over here, they was already building a platform
Right.
to control the economy by taking Northern Kingdom.
Hey, you know what I just picked up on as well? This thing started when at 1492, right?
Right.
Meaning whoever made that, they know that our slavery goes hand in hand. They ain't no two different slaveries. That
Right.
1492 and 1619. They enslaved the same group of people. We're not different. We're the
Right.
same ones.
One of the things was Trail of Tears. Y'all seen the Trail of Tears flash across the screen?
Yeah.
It's funny because on that Kaplan article that we're reading, it mentions the what they call them, atrocities that happen among the Native American communities. And I want to talk about that word among because that's misleading as well. But go ahead. Look at the baton. It got a $sign on it. All your riches.
Old Esau passing it back to young Esau.
Yep. Y'all can't see it, but underneath the disclaimer, you can see the dates. There it is. Look at that.
Wealth disparity.
Smiling. 1964.
Now, what happens in 1964? We start getting leaders to help revolutionize the Black and Hispanic communities.
Right.
Right. So now what are they doing? Discrimination, killing off the black leaders and so forth and so on. So now that we finally get out the gate, What are they doing? This obstacle's being thrown in our way.
You in the spirit. It was the same thing I was just thinking about.
Chew it up.
No. Go ahead. No, I'm just saying you in the spirit. No, go ahead.
You got some cards?
No, sir. Go ahead, play the video.
All right, let's go.
For school.
That's more of the obstacles.
Right.
Remember, pause it real quick. Remember in the beginning it said structural, and then it said what? Poor schooling. These things. So they didn't just let you out of slavery.
Right.
They was. It said what we just read in the scripture. It said they are wiser than Daniel. Okay, we gonna let them go, but hold on, we gonna have this lined up and that lined up and that lined up. So ain't no way they gonna catch up to where we at.
That's right.
It's structural. But go ahead. You can play on.
Hold on one second. They basically calling plays as we go along.
Audibles.
Right.
They playing audibles.
Yep.
Okay. They got past that one. Okay. They go into their little think tank.
Right.
They come back with the flea flicker.
Okay. Now let's put this in place.
The flip
for 'em.
flam.
Right. like in sports, they go. Let's make they go to halftime and make an adjustment.
Right. And they hit you with the flea flicker. Then they got the flim flam. They got all of these different plays. Every time that you think that you're going to get ahead, you get 5 yards. Hey, the flag. They throw the flag on you.
Right.
You can't do that.
Yo.
You can't. You can't have your own community. 1921 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You can't do that. Nah, we burning that down. Flag on the play.
That's right. That's
For
exactly
facts.
what it was.
That's facts.
Rosewood.
Yep.
Flag on the play.
That's facts. The Red Summer. That's facts.
Flag on the play. Hey.
I'm putting that on the shirt.
Let's go. Roll with
Go
it.
ahead, roll it. Underemployment. Standardized test. All right, pause it right here. I want to talk about this point right here. Because as you see, they went through a few obstacles. They had the sharks. They had the underemployment, the pit that was dug. They had
Poor
the
schooling.
stones, right? All of these things, and they still, if you look at the video, the music that's playing is still upbeat. Even through those obstacles, the music was still upbeat.
Right.
Once it got to this point right here, the music starts to get more somber.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Even through all of these obstacles and atrocities that we face as a people, we still push forward.
Right.
So they had to create more and more and more obstacles for us. And you can see in this video that we keep going. We still fight through all of the things that they set up against us. Go ahead. I just want y'all to pay attention to the psychological part of it.
No, I want to back you up real quick. Can we get Genesis 49?
Yes, sir.
Get Genesis 49, I believe it's verse 8. Because you said we were still upbeat. We were still fighting. Like I mentioned, we had the Tulsa, Oklahoma. We still going. Fresh out of slavery, we still going. Then in 1964, you had Martin Luther King. You had Malcolm X. You had all these black leaders. We were still going. Then you get to this part where, drugs and stuff is put into our community. Guns and all of these things is put into our communities. Liquor stores on every corner is put into our communities. And then you see, like he said, the music start to slow down. The music could be a representation of our mentality of how we, how we moving.
Right.
It's starting to slow down. And in return, we started to slow down. And we're not thinking about those things no more. Now basketball players is our leaders.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Rappers is our leaders. Nicki Minaj shaking her tail is our leaders. These are our role models now. Not ones that were sticking up for the community. But go ahead and read that.
Genesis, you want
Verse 8.
verse 8.
Yeah, verse 8.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 8.
Uh-huh.
Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise.
Uh-huh.
Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies.
So Judah, you so-called American blacks, shall be in the hand of your enemies, meaning you're going to be there in that same landmass with your enemies, and your neck is going to be in their hand.
Going toe to toe.
Right, going toe to toe. 1964. What was that? The civil rights movements
Civil
and all
rights
that.
movement, yep.
You know what I mean? You're going to be toe to toe. Read on.
Thy father's children shall bow down before thee.
Uh-huh.
Judah is a lion's whelp. From thy prey, my son, thou art gone up.
Keep going.
He stooped down. He stooped down. He couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up?
So what happened? We became that old lion. We got wore down. That's why the music dropped down, also cuz. That's why the music went down. We got worn out.
Yeah, you got beat up for 300 and something years. And when you got a little bit of momentum, it still wasn't enough to keep carrying on.
Right.
Not until the Saviors came back.
Right.
That's
okay. There it is.
Not until the Saviors came back.
That's right.
Let's deal with this diabolical beast. You got some more on that video, Kyle?
Nah, that's pretty much it.
Let's get about 15 more seconds of it.
He can't even finish the race. I actually did want to bring this one. Rest area. She can't even rest. This ain't our rest.
Yo, just that music alone is pissing me off. Who else can get put through this? It's disheartening. It's disheartening it's just headache after headache, problem after problem. It just keep going. It's just nonstop.
And then at the end of the day, you get a shortened lifespan.
Right.
And
We're not going to take our knee off your neck. We're not letting up. Full throttle.
Right. And that's a great part to stop at. Put that back on the screen. It says shortened lifespan. So all of the causes, right? The shortened lifespan is an effect of all of the things that happened to us throughout slavery. So that was a good segment. Let's segue into this, right? Pull up the other article, history.com, okay? Because we're going to use that article to comparison to what Khan Academy put on their website. So this is an older article, right? So you see the reference points that they got in there. Put it on the screen.
Right.
So now, this is blatant and plain what actually happened. This is not buttered up. Read document description. Let's start from the top. Acts against the education of slaves.
Acts against the education of slaves, South Carolina, 1740, and Virginia, 1819.
1819. 1919 was pretty close to Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? So 100 years after that, we was already starting our own community.
Right.
Okay, but go ahead, read.
Go on to the description.
Document description.
The document description. Fearing that black literacy would prove a threat to the slave system, which relied on slaves' dependency on masters, whites in many colonies instituted laws forbidding slaves to learn to read or write and making it a crime for others to teach them.
So this is what's heavy about this particular article is that it shows the importance of education, and not biblical education, of course, but it shows the importance of just having a literacy to learn how to make sure to read and write. Why? Because you got to fill out documents. You got to have these different things. That's why. But they had a fear of us being what? Educated. Having some type of education.
Right.
Right? Because why? Because the last part before it showed shortened lifespan, it went into what? It went into school to prison pipeline. And so what is that showing you? It's showing you that even if you went to school, their objective was not for you to learn.
Right.
It was to prep you to go right to prison. Why? To put you right back into the slave syndrome that they had before. The same thing they did with the Jim Crow and the other particular laws that they had soon as we came out of slavery was to do what? To keep us in slavery. Right. 13th Amendment and so forth. So let's read on. And this is South Carolina. This is the haven of slavery.
Transcript. Excerpt from South Carolina Act of 1740. Whereas the having slaves taught to write or suffering them to be employed in writing may be attended with great inconveniences, be it enacted that all and every person and persons whosoever who shall hereafter teach or cause any slave or slaves to be taught to write, or shall use or employ any slave as a scribe in any manner of writing whatsoever, hereafter taught to write, every such person or persons shall for every such offense forfeit the sum of 100 pounds current money.
So in 1740, you had to pay a fine.
Right.
And a scribe is somebody that wrote whatever you said. So they saying basically you couldn't have a slave to be employed as a scribe, because if he was a scribe, that means that he was able to read and write.
Right.
He was literate. So they said no, that couldn't happen. And if they did catch a slave master that was educating their slaves to do that, it said that he would be fined. Let's look at the change that happened in 1819 in Virginia.
Excerpt from Virginia Revised Code of 1819. That all meetings or assemblages of slaves or free Negroes.
So these are people that don't have masters now. So they're saying whether you're a slave or you're a free Negro.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Or free Negroes or mulattoes mixing and associating with such slaves at any meeting house or houses, and in the night, or at any school or schools for teaching them reading or writing in caps, either in the day or night, under whatsoever pretext, shall be deemed and considered an unlawful assembly.
So y'all coming together, and if any one of y'all in this assembly was teaching somebody how to read or write, that's considered an unlawful assembly. That's like loitering. That's like y'all going to the store and three people outside, and then somebody comes outside and says that nobody came in to buy nothing. That's loitering. That they consider that an unlawful assembly. Come on, read on.
And any justice of a county wherein such assemblage shall be, either from his own knowledge or the information of others, of such unlawful assemblage, may issue his warrant, directed to any sworn officer or officers, authorizing him or them to enter the house or houses where such unlawful assemblages may be, for the purpose of apprehending or dispersing such slaves, and to inflict corporal punishment on the offender or offenders.
Get the definition of corporal punishment. What does corporal punishment mean? Because in 1740, it was a fine. What is corporal punishment? All right, put that on the screen. All right, so what is corporal punishment, Kaz? Read.
Corporal punishment. Physical punishment, such as caning or flogging.
So in 1740, it was financial. They said, hey, you're going to pay us a fine. Right? Now we get to what ended up happening was they saw how bad the effects, because remember, now you have free Negroes. So now they're seeing that you have Negroes with education. Mm-hmm. They said this is going to be bad on us.
Right.
We cannot have these Negroes teaching the other slaves how to read and write.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So now what they do, they upgraded the punishment.
Right.
So let's read corporal punishment.
Physical punishment, such as caning or flogging. Punishment under law that includes imprisonment and death.
So they went from, no, we're not just going to fine the masters now, because now we have free Negroes. Mm-hmm. What we're going to do is we either going to put them in prison or we're going to kill them. Mm-hmm. So let's segue. Let's get the importance of what we're talking about. So the title, The Diabolical Beast, right? The cause and effect and peeling back the banana of slavery. So now we're starting to peel back the layers. But what was the cause? What happened that all that time that we were in slavery, right? Mm-hmm. What was going on with them? Okay, we knew what was happening to us, and we're going to touch on what happened to us, but what was happening with them? Get the article. It should say how slavery became the economic engine of the South. Yeah, get that article. So while we're in slavery, we don't have an education. Okay, we're illiterate. We can't read or write, so forth and so on. While we're doing that, this is what's going on with them. It goes back to the video that you brought out about the what is it? the video you just brought out. What was the title of the video?
Structural discrimination,
Right.
unequal opportunity race.
Unequal opportunity race. So while we're sitting there building their wealth in terms of the first article we brought out that talked about, basically they called it the transatlantic trade.
Right.
They're belittling the fact that the whole system that was built on trading us.
Right.
And in trading us, they used the knowledge that we had in terms of crops and so forth and so on to make economic advancements for their societies to be built on what they built on today.
Right.
So you got the video? All right, let's do the article. Come on.
How slavery became the economic engine of the South. Slavery was so profitable, it sprouted more millionaires per capita in the Mississippi River Valley than anywhere in the nation. With cash crops of tobacco, cotton, and sugarcane, America's southern states became the economic engine of the burgeoning nation. Their fuel of choice, human slavery.
So, but I thought in Khan Academy it said that it was natural resources and goods.
Right.
Right.
I thought that's what it said. I'm confused. Read that part again. Okay.
With cash crops of tobacco, cotton, and sugarcane, America's southern states became the economic engine of the burgeoning nation. Their fuel of choice, human slavery.
So bring back the article from Khan Academy. Let's just cross-reference.
That's it right there.
That's the
it.
article. Yeah, put that article up. So let's read the overview again, just the first part of it.
During the colonial era, Britain and its colonies engaged in a triangular trade, shipping natural resources, goods, and people across the Atlantic Ocean in an effort to enrich the mother country.
So that's interesting because we just read in the other article that the fuel that the Southern whites used were slaves.
Right.
We know that these resources were being traded, but free labor was the fuel engine that was allowing them to get rich. If I don't have to pay you, I keep all of the money.
All benefit.
I don't have to pay
Profits.
you. I don't have to pay you at all. So everything that I make is profit.
Yeah, just straight profit.
It's straight profit. And on top of that, I'm getting money selling slaves.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't have a slave auction block if there wasn't money in commerce involved.
Right. So that was an industry in itself.
Right, that was an industry in itself.
Just buying slaves, not what the crops and everything that they produce.
Mm-hmm.
It was and the things they invented. Okay, so you had a separate industry of just selling slaves.
Right. You got the double dose of the shebang.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So go back to the article we was just reading. Let's come out of it. Yeah. All right. Let's go there.
If the Confederacy had been a separate nation, it would have ranked as the fourth richest in the world at the start of the Civil War.
So just think about that. Just the South in itself, with the money that they were making through the transatlantic slave trade, trading our ancestors, they would have been they would have been richer than any other continent. They would have been richer than, it says the fourth richest in the world. Meaning those 13 colonies, those 13 states would have been richer than India, China, because of free labor, because of selling our ancestors. Go ahead.
The slave economy had been very good to American prosperity. By the start of the war, the South was producing 75% of the world's cotton and creating more millionaires per capita in the Mississippi River Valley than anywhere in the nation. Enslaved workers represented Southern planters' most significant investment and the bulk of their wealth.
You see that part right there? I don't want to go past that. It says they were producing what? Where it said that again? Producing more.
They were producing 75% of the world's cotton and creating more millionaires per capita in the Mississippi River Valley than anywhere in the nation.
So and those children of those people
Right.
are still here today with us.
That's
Right.
what was on that video.
Right.
You know what I'm
Remember
saying?
that video said what was they doing? They was passing the
Passing on,
baton.
yep.
Right.
They was passing the baton. They was passing the baton.
It's heavy.
Go ahead, officer.
Did you want to? Okay,
You
okay.
touched it. Come on, let's go down.
An economy built on slavery.
So let's just make sure we reference that point. The economy that built America was built on slavery. That's why when we read Revelations 18 and officer brought it out, the last part of that verse said slaves and souls of men. Meaning all of those things, those merchandise that came up that they was mentioning, yeah, that was one part of it. But why did it leave that at the end? That was the most important part, and the reason why they were going to be judged, according to Revelations 18, because of what they did to us.
Right.
Come
Right.
on.
And a lot of them, just to that point, a lot of them think, hey, I had nothing to do with that.
Right.
I didn't do all that. But the Bible, can we get Isaiah 14 and 21 real quick before we move past that? Because regardless if you had something to do with it or not, and nowadays you still benefit off the atrocities that your forefathers, foremothers did to us.
The educational system, these schools, they're named after these people.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so when you get into Harvard and things like that, like you're getting in there based off of your name. Your name is getting you into Harvard.
Yep.
Okay, your name is getting you into Yale and Dartmouth and all these other different universities. So they're not fooling us, but they will fool the masses that think that, well, because they let a couple of them in, that it's not segregated. It's still segregated to a certain portion of society.
So exactly what we're gonna read. The Bible or the Most High doesn't discriminate between you and your forefathers. Y'all all owe dough. All of y'all owe. Go ahead and read that.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 21.
Prepare
slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers.
You hear that right there? It says, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of his fathers. In that video, it kept them showing them past the baton, because the fathers was making sure the sons benefit off of us picking tobacco, picking sugar cane, picking all of these things. You know what I'm saying? That free labor. So their cause and effect is that you see America and all its riches today. That's their cause and effect. So the Most High God said, hey, prepare slaughter for them, for their iniquities. They all got to pay for that. Go ahead, also.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Hey.
It's
some more in there. Keep going.
Some more butter on that.
Keep going.
Go ahead, read. Just read it again.
Yes, sir. Prepare slaughter for his children,
For
the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities.
So no longer are they going to even be on the earth anymore. They're not going to even fill the cities of the earth anymore.
Read 22.
Verse 22. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name.
It's not talking about Babylon the Great. It's talking about this is talking about Babylon the Great. What you call America today is going to cut off the what?
Cut off the name.
And what?
And remnant, and son, and nephew, said the Lord.
Meaning I'm cleaning that whole land. There will not one Esau. Yeah, not one be remaining. They all got to go. Eviction notice. Get off the earth. Let's go. Let's go back to the article.
And Most High said he named out all males.
You cut the males off, you cut the lineage off.
I mean, the lineage is gone.
Right.
And no seed left.
And you know that's heavy, right? Because a lot of they don't think like when we talk about like when it talks about sodomy in the scriptures. If you keep the men dealing with men, how can you reproduce?
Right.
So that's why, like the officer said, hey, I'm cutting off the son, the nephew, the father, the remnant. All of these, I got to cut. If I cut the men off, I cut the lineage off.
Right.
Period. Because after a while, guess what? There's no reproduction when it comes to them. Because, you know, we hate to say you dealing with an Esau, you know, that's that they birthing.
Right.
Eventually, when her old withery self dies off, she's done. That lineage dies.
Right.
So let's go back to the article.
An economy built on slavery. Building a commercial enterprise out of the wilderness required labor and lots of it. For much of the 1600s, the American colonies operated as agricultural economies, driven largely by indentured servitude.
Well, we know that's a lie.
Right.
Go ahead.
Most workers were poor, unemployed laborers from Europe who, like others, had traveled to North America for a new life.
So what they're doing in this particular article is they're summing up the Edomites, the Irish, and Dutch that came over here because they saw opportunity.
Right.
And they're trying to equivalate that to what we did. We wasn't in indentured servitude. We was slaves. Jump down to the second article. Not by 1680.
Second paragraph.
Yeah, second paragraph, 1680.
By 1680, the British economy improved and more jobs became available in Britain. During this time, slavery had become morally, legally, and socially acceptable institution in the colonies. As a number of European laborers coming from the colonies dwindled, enslaving Africans became a commercial necessity and more widely acceptable.
So, of course, if you have indentured servitudes, right? So the Dutch, the Irish, they come over. You paying them. But if I can get people to do the same work and not have to pay them, that's even better.
Right.
So let's segue into this because we got 5 minutes before we take our break. Give me Deuteronomy 28. Because the point is while all this is happening, right? This 300 years of slavery, so forth and so on. While all this is happening, and the Europeans are gaining economic strides, what's going on with the people that they're enslaving? Right. That's the point. The point we want to deal with is the diabolical beast, and we got to peel back the layers of the causes and effects of slavery and how it affected our people. Yeah. Right? Deuteronomy 28 and 32.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand.
So one of the effects of slavery was our sons and daughters being trafficked, being traded, our ancestors being traded as commerce. That's go up again where it says commercial necessity. All right, so our ancestors were commodities, cargo, slave ships. The fact that it says cargo, meaning that it's meant to transport cargo, not slaves.
Merchandise.
It's meant to transport merchandise, like the officer's saying. Okay, you got some, Kaz?
No, sir, I was just reading.
Okay, read 32 again.
Verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand.
There was nothing that we could do about it, right? So when we come back from the break, we're gonna start ironing out some of the things of what we could not do. But how did that affect our people in the long run? What happened to us in slavery and the post-traumatic stress that we dealt with, the trauma that ripples through our community for over 300-400 years? More than that, because if you think about it, we've been enslaved since Solomon. Right. Okay, whether you go from Babylon to go from Assyrian to Babylon to the Greeks to the Romans, we've been enslaved for more than 400 years. But what effects has it has? How has it rippled through our people over this time? What are the scars that it has left our people that we're trying to patch back up as the saviors on the earth?
Right.
As have you said that too, officer, that those effects are post-traumatic, you know, and they're passed down through the spirit. It's spiritual.
Right.
You know, it's in our DNA to dealing with what our forefathers dealt with. They don't just go away.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? That goes into the children.
Right. Think about the trauma of a pregnant woman, right? And she sees her husband. She's pregnant. She sees her husband getting beat like they did Tobit, right? Think about that and how that affects the child that's in her. That child feels that stuff. So now it's within that child. Now that child comes out and that child sees the same thing that it felt when it was in the womb. And we don't. Did we get therapy for that?
No, sir.
Did we get to sit on the white man's couch for that? We didn't get anything. We got pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And matter of fact, you know, you better be happy that we took them chains off of you.
Right. You owe us,
Nigga. All right, man. We're gonna go to the break. We want y'all to stay tuned to the Bible, the Book of Our Fathers. We'll be back.
That's right.
Right. Stay tuned.
If I war time, meditate there upon my mind. Pants press boot of his shine. Man terrible in a war time. Dream team. Well, if I war, then it is roll deep down 12 noon. Pull up then lock down street. Hit squad, jump out at the 4-door Jeep. And we match black pants and boots, pan feet. Let me reach for the back. Pull out the heat, man, I spray with the weapon and I listen them a teach. In a war time, we no two trace like y'all. We no take tough chat, boot reach boy teeth. I'm a heart too cold, man, I know about mercy. Cops and marathon, them concrete day. All I shot that boy, me no skin teeth. If you know, some me grim, man, me come here, so fi reap blood reach to the regular. Base color lead, any weapon, the siren go come and set the pan repeat. Man, a victory dance, cause the boy them get the feed. Last man standing, so the mission complete. You see, war time, for war. Meditate there upon my mind. Pants press boot of his shine. Man terrible in a war time. Dream team in a war time. For war. Meditate there upon my mind. Pants press boot of his shine. Man terrible in a war time. Dream team.
Warriors war with the truth. You know, sister, them and them come poop. Only wisdom when them have is just a wisdom tooth. You forget the W, you just is dumb.
This right here could never stop. Nah. One time, hey. I live on the job, right? Yeah, I'm always at work, right? Real people stay by me, right? Haters wanna do hurt, right? Know they tryna stop me, right? Drag my name through dirt, right? I don't feed into the hate, right? I just answer with a smirk, facts. I feel so special, facts. I know my worth, facts. My bloodline royal, facts. We the kings of the earth, right? You can't stop this, nah. You can't stop this, no way. Yo, boy, way I try, don't test. Them thing that not work, Visionary, I see it, right? We the realest man, we the chosen man. Sorry, you can't be it.
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom.
We back, Israel. Y'all thought we was gone. We back in here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome back to the next segment. The Bible, the Book of Our Fathers. How this officers doing? How y'all doing today?
Doing good.
Good.
Happy Sabbath.
Good. We hope y'all enjoyed the first half of the show. Second half, we want to really touch on the effects. We wanted to build the foundation of slavery. We wanted to really touch on it. So now we're going to go into the cause and effects. What were the causes of us going into slavery? What were the effects? All right. Let's touch on Deuteronomy 28:15.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So we find out this is like, for us, especially in Israel, this is the foundation of our understanding. Okay? It says the reason why all of those things that we touched on in the first hour was because we did not keep the commandments.
Right.
Everything that happened through us throughout this Bible was because we failed to keep God's commandments. We failed to adhere and be obedient to what the Most High asked us to do. Right? Read verse 45.
Verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed.
Till we be destroyed in our minds. Physically, we were destroyed, and then mentally, we got killed. Why? Because now today, you ask a black or Hispanic, hey, what's your nationality? I'm Mexican. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm African American. I'm everything but what God named us to be. But however, they have a Bible in front of them, and they call themselves a Christian, but have no knowledge of the history. Before the apostles were called Christians in Antioch, they have no knowledge about what they were called prior to that. They identified that the children of Israel went in slavery on slave ships, but they can't identify with that. Come on, read on.
Till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee.
You know what's important about that? Get Deuteronomy 4. Because not only did we not keep the commandments, but the nations knew that in us not understanding and keeping God's laws, that would give them an advantage to be over us. Read 4 and 6.
Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 6.
Start at verse 5, please.
Verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it.
So, of course, this is talking about Jerusalem, but it's saying wherever we go, we're supposed to be keeping these commandments. Read, watch. Why?
Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
So the nations would know that you are a wise people based off of how you keeping the commandments would show the nations that you're wise. So if you're not keeping the commandments, then where's your wisdom coming from? You mimicking what they're doing.
Right.
How can you stand out if you're doing the same things that they're doing? Come on, read on.
Which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
So the nations would know us by us keeping the laws.
Right.
Now get Judith, and let's see that they understood that if they could keep us in error, in sin, that they knew that the Most High would not deal with us. Let's get that.
Hey, real quick, also, you can see that in everyday life. Right there in Deuteronomy, it said, if you keep the law, statute, commandments, the nation's going to look at you like, this is a wise and understanding people. But now that we're not keeping the commandments, what do they call us? They call us animals. They call us thugs. They call us everything under the sun but wise. Yep. Y'all ain't wise no more. Why? Because we're not keeping the law, statute, and commandments of God, man.
Which lets you know that they know what the laws are.
Right. They know what the laws can do for you.
Yeah, they know the benefit of keeping the laws. And they also know the benefit of for them of us not keeping the laws.
Right.
Get that. Judith 5 and 20.
Judith chapter 5 and verse 20.
Start at 19. We could go further up, but I just want to start at 19.
Yes, sir. Verse 19. But now are they returned to their God.
So that's what we're doing now. We're repenting. We're returning back to God. Go ahead. Come on.
They don't like that. I'm sorry.
And they're
you in the spirit on that thing.
They don't like that thing.
You in the spirit on the Lord's day. Come on, read.
But now they are returned unto their God, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem with their where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin.
So all of that we was reading about, us being slaves, us being commodity, and so forth and so on, all of that transpired because we went away from God. Now, as the saviors, we're coming back to God. We're showing that the causes of us going through all that is one thing. The effects of it is one thing, but what are we going to do now? Okay, all of that stress and that trauma that we went through, we still have the medicine, the healing Bible to teach us what we need to do to get back to that nation that was respected amongst all the other nations. Read on, Kaz.
let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them.
So there's nothing that anybody can do to us when we're keeping the commandments. There's nothing that anybody can do to us. And they know that. That's why they plague our communities with sodomy and drugs and all of the different things that we're getting ready to go into. That's why they plague our communities with these things, to keep us what? Disconnected from the source that gives us our power.
Right.
Go ahead, Yee.
Let me bring something out. Let me get 2 Ezra 3 and 35, because I heard you say something. I heard Officer Nahshon say something. What he said, now that we're returning back to the laws, back being a wise and understanding people, they mad.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and like you just said, they do everything to plague us with all type of sin in our communities. So read that, 2 Ezra 3 and 35, because something I want to point out with this scripture of what they're doing. Read that.
2 Ezra chapter 3 and verse 35.
Uh-huh.
Or when was it that they which dwell upon the earth have not sinned in thy sight?
In God's sight, because we sin in God's sight. Read on.
Or what people have so kept thy commandments?
It says, or what people have kept God's commandment. Read.
Thou shalt find that Israel by name hath kept thy precepts.
So the Israelites have kept God's commandments. Read on.
But not the heathen.
But who?
But not the heathen.
Because they can't keep the laws. Okay? So what they're doing is trying to keep you from not keeping the laws.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Hey, if I was going down, I'm taking you with me.
Right.
I ain't mad at them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm pulling out all stops. I know. Hey, I know I ain't getting out of this. So
That's why they
pork
not
all in your community.
right. That's why they're not letting up on that throttle. You got to go with them according to them.
misery
I'm
love
taking
company.
I'm taking them with me.
They say if you can't beat them, then join them. But
damn.
they can't join us.
Damn.
Right. So we gonna
So
beat,
they
we
mad.
gonna beat you to a pulp.
Make them sin.
Hey, but you know that's heavy. Get that in Baruch 3. I think it's 3 and 36. Get that in Baruch 3 and 36.
That's what you want.
Because first and foremost, we need to understand that the causes of us going through what we're going through now is because of our own sins. But we do need to understand that we were given all the wisdom in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It said that all of the nations would come to Solomon to learn. All of the land of Egypt would come to Solomon to learn.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Get that. Baruch 3 and 36. Read that.
The book of Baruch, chapter 3 and verse 36. He hath found out all the way of knowledge, and hath given it unto Jacob his servant, and to Israel his beloved.
So anything that we need to know, we have the records to teach us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we need to get education in some form or fashion. But this Bible right here has everything you need to know how to be a God on this earth.
Right.
We're being recreated as gods again just by opening this book and understanding what our forefathers did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Anybody got anything?
Read on down to next chapter. Read on down.
Go ahead.
Verse 37. Afterward did he show himself upon earth and conversed with men.
I want one. That's the point.
Chapter 4 and verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of God, and the law that endureth forever.
So that's what he had found out, all the way of knowledge. And then when you read into verse 1, it says, "This is the book." That's the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is what he gave us.
No, it's
You
the
know what I'm
Egyptian Book of the Dead.
What's that? The Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah.
The 42
laws of mind.
Yeah, confessions.
Come on, man. The Quran. It said
Right.
this is the book.
This is the
Right.
book. This is that knowledge he's talking about in verse 36, 3 and 36. That's all I want to bring up.
So, go ahead. You got something else?
I was just gonna say, now if they can keep you from reading and writing, now that's the cause and effect. That's, you know what I mean. Now it said right there in verse 36, we have found all the ways of knowledge. We coming up with all these things like you mentioned, the stoplight, all these things. And even when we were in slavery, we was coming up with a lot of inventions to make things a little bit easier on us. They would take those things, and why? Because we didn't know how to read and write. We didn't, you know what I mean? And we was in slavery.
Right. They was using their property.
They was taking everything.
Right.
Not only were they taking our labor, they was taking our thoughts. They was taking everything. We couldn't have nothing for ourselves.
Your wife wasn't yours.
Right.
Nothing was yours. Your bed is mine. Everything's mine.
Hey, that goes in Obadiah. Would you not leave one grape? Can I have some humanity?
Right.
Can I have something?
Some dignity.
But get that in Psalms 83 real quick, and then we're gonna touch on some of the effects. Psalms 83. We want to show how they wanted to eradicate us from understanding who we were in this Bible and who we were as a people. Okay, get that in Psalms 83.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 1.
Come on.
Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult.
But everybody opens the Bible in the Christian church, and they say that they're a friend of God. But the Bible says God has enemies.
Right.
How could God have enemies if Catholics use the Bible, Mormons use the Bible? Well, I don't know what Mormons use. Seventh-day Adventists use the Bible. All of these different denominations use the Bible, but God has enemies. How could he have enemies if they're using his book? Come on.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
But there's people that hate God, but they say they don't hate God.
Right.
But why did David or Asaph say that there's people that hate God? Because if you're not keeping it, you hate God.
Right.
If you dealing with sodomy, you hate God. He said, "Don't do it."
If you make sodomy legal, then you hate God.
You hate God. One nation under God. Are you serious? Come on, read on.
What the scripture say? You should not sell your neighbor. How's it go?
It says, "He that selleth his neighbor for merchandise."
Right. So if you do that, you hate God, and that's what we was talking about earlier.
Stealeth a man.
Him not stealing from man, right?
Steal from man and
Right.
sell it from. Yeah.
Right.
But we was commercial commodities back then. We still are. Come on.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
So remember, when we first read the first article that we segued into from the Khan Academy, and it said transatlantic trade. That's crafty counsel.
Right.
Okay, because all of those nations, they're saying they were taking it to the mother country, which we know is Africa. Africa did not benefit too much from the slave trade as much as all of the European nations did.
Right.
Okay, if in the guns and stuff that they got, they came right back and took them guns right back.
Right.
Okay, you got something, Kaz?
I did. I can you pull that article back up from the Khan Academy, because I want to expound on your point, officer, where it's crafty counsel. Read the part where it says, go back.
Go to the Khan Academy. Yeah, that's it.
The part where it says trade with Europeans led.
Trade with Europeans led to far-reaching consequences among Native American communities.
So I just want keep reading.
Including warfare, cultural change, and disease.
So it says trade with Europeans led to far-reaching consequences among Native American communities. When you read among Native American communities, do you think about the Europeans? You say
No.
among us. You're not thinking about nobody else. It's between us. It says including warfare, cultural change, and disease. Like they weren't the ones that did it, or they weren't the ones that were participating in the warfare. Like it was just among the Native Americans.
Right.
That's crafty counsel.
Exactly. And then when you think about the cultural change, the fact that y'all are over here is the reason why the culture changed. Because
Right.
before you got here, we was all doing the same thing until you came here.
Right.
So you saying, well, cultural change? No, you came over here, you killed us, you put us on the reservation, you tried to put us in your schools, cut our hair,
Right.
you buried us under churches, and then you sit there and talking about cultural change and disease.
So you're saying that they put their hand in the cookie jar and they try to hide their hand, like they ain't do it.
With crumbs on their mouth.
Right.
It led to consequences among the Native Americans. That's that crafty counsel.
But think about how heavy this is, because it said that they would fall on their own sword. Although the British government attempted to control colonial trade, meaning what? They were still trying, the British in essence was trying to control what was going on over here, which led to what? The Revolutionary War. Because they, now they over here, they said, no, y'all ain't going to tell us what to do. This is our land now. After they helped them out, the red coats and the blue coats was doing what everything they was doing. And think about it. They had the Indian War, the Revolutionary War. I think it was the 7-Year War, the Spanish War. All these different wars that went on for them to get access to this land. The effects of what happened to us, like they said, the warfare, the cultural change, the disease. They had to do all of that in order to possess this land.
Right.
And then once they did it, they said, "Well, we don't want to be a part of Britain's colonial group anymore. We want our own."
Right.
You know, because Babylon the whore, she had to come out of her.
Right. I was just thinking the same thing.
She had to.
Prophecy.
She had to.
Right.
Get that in Revelations real quick. Revelations chapter 17, verse 11.
The book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 11. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the eighth.
That's America. Even that was, but is not. That's America. He is the eighth. Come on.
And is of the seven.
Come on.
And goeth into perdition.
Read.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
Read 13.
Verse 13. These have one mind.
They have what?
One mind.
So when they say in the colonies and so forth, they're talking about all the other nations are in agreement. That we're going to go back and read that in Psalms 83. All of them were in agreement. All these European nations were in agreement to enslave the children of Israel. Why? Because they knew the benefit of us. They knew the benefit of us being in captivity. And, of course, it was prophecy to an extent. But they went far beyond what they were supposed to do. Come on.
And shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
To America. America's the ruling power. All right, let's go back to Psalms 83.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 3.
Come on.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones.
Because we're hidden in America. We're hidden all across the world. We don't know that we're the Israelites.
Right.
We're finding out this now, but we were hidden. Come on.
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Let us cut them off from being Israel.
Right.
That's African American. That's Puerto Rican. And you are going to be a Cuban. And you're going to be a Jamaican. And you in China, you're going to be Chinese.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
And that's the whole point. Every other nation has their history except for us.
Right.
What do we have outside of, what is the effects of slavery to us? We don't have our history. We have our history, but we don't have a connection to it. We're disconnected from it. It's like we're getting little sparks, but we're not connected to our history. Come on.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
That was all of the nations that said that they would give their power to the beast. All of them are in unison with this. They're in one mind and one spirit. Come on.
They are confederate against thee.
They are what?
Confederate against thee.
So they might fight amongst each other, but their ultimate goal is to keep us ignorant.
Right.
Right? And keep us in sin. All of their laws, all of their things are set up to keep us in sin. It ain't about them. They're going to do that regardless. They govern their laws based off of what's going to keep us in the midst of sin.
Right.
Because when you see a sodomite that's black, he far beyond.
Mm-hmm.
He
Right.
go above and beyond to be that way. Like they be over the top when it comes to those particular sins. Like when we go in the midst of sin, we go above and beyond. When we go to selling drugs, ain't nobody selling drugs like the cartel. Ain't nobody doing it like Frank Lucas and them was doing it.
Right.
We go above and beyond in wickedness.
I think Israel might have been the first sodomites I saw wearing heels.
Damn.
That's true.
It's a dude I went to school with, sodomite, got a full beard, wearing lashes.
Oh man.
Yeah. They go above and
Above and
beyond.
beyond.
Lashes.
With a butterfly back.
Dang.
Hey, come on, man. Let's get to this. Yeah, go ahead, also. That's it.
Can we get to some of these causes and effects?
Let's get it.
So we're going to get to some of these causes and effects because, like you said, and right there in Psalm 73, it said they have taken crafty counsel against the hidden one, so the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. Can y'all pull up that first video that I put up? So that was the cause and effect of that was to take away our nationality. Now we're calling
Right.
ourselves African American, blacks, Hispanics, all these things outside of that was one cause and effect. I want to get another one. The first video that I put up.
All right.
Go ahead, play it. So this is some of the cause and effects. I want to start right now what's going on in today's generation. Then we're going backtrack. Then we're going to
All
go
right.
back. All right. So let's see how our sisters conduct themselves nowadays.
Yo, get wrong, and how I got it wrong. I had an amazing relationship, and I left him.
So stop right there real
I
quick.
left him because
So real quick, just to preface this, this sister right here was married, and she's saying that she left her husband because of other women in her ear, and telling her things that was going contrary to what her husband was telling her. All right, so she left him. Play on.
I had single, feminist women in my ear. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I had it good. And I had my sister code of women telling me that you have a degree. He's controlling you. What, you have to ask him for money? I have money in the bank. Oh, you sound so sad. You have to ask permission to do things? I let those women get in my ear. And it almost single-handedly destroyed my whole entire family because I listened to that sister code. I didn't listen to my grandmother, who was traditional and kept her family together. And even though my granddad has passed, my grandmother has acres of land because my granddad provided. I let it get wrong.
So go ahead, stop. Go ahead, stop. So right there, you see this sister she left her husband because of feminist women that she had in her life. This is a cause and effect of slavery, because what they do, matter of fact, get Jeremiah real quick. Get Jeremiah 31 and 22. All right, and then I want the Willie Lynch letter. All right, so this is a cause and effect right here. It said that she wasn't referencing her husband. She started listening to them.
Right.
Oh, you got to ask him for money. Meanwhile, the scriptures say what? Submit yourself unto your husband. But
To your own husband.
To your own husband. So we have completely, as you can see, our sisters have fallen away from that. Go ahead and read that real quick.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 22.
Uh-huh.
How long wilt thou go about, O backsliding daughter?
Uh-huh.
For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth.
What's that new thing in the earth?
A woman shall compass a man.
So now a woman shall compass a man. Now you see these type of women in everyday life. This is when you destroy the woman, or also the man, when you destroy the family structure, you destroy the nation.
Right.
It's going back to the cause and effect of slavery. And how did they do it? Now let's get the Willie Lynch letter. Start at page 17. You can read
Remember,
right there.
it said slave system. So this is the outline and blueprint of the slave system.
Right. This is the outline and blueprint of how to keep your slaves in your control, profitable for you. Go ahead and read that. Let's start it off.
It's the Willie Lynch letter,
Uh-huh.
page 17. The breaking process of the African woman.
You see that? The breaking process of the African woman. What we just seen in that video was a broken woman.
Right.
All right. The nation, it started off with her. The nation is broke behind that. Now that she left her husband, a husband that was taking care of her, a husband that was providing for her. Now what? Now she has to put herself in the forefront. All right. And this is what you're seeing every day. Go ahead.
But
Go ahead,
the title of it in itself says a lot. Because it says the breaking process of, it says African woman, but it's talking about an Israelite.
Right.
But what are they breaking? They're breaking that spirit. When it says in Deuteronomy, till thou be destroyed, that's what they're breaking. They're breaking that spirit from that connection to God completely.
Right.
Eradicating whatever identity that she thought she had, that
Right.
family structure, all of that stuff that we're talking about now that's going to rebuild the nation. They had to completely destroy that. To do what? To make the Negro.
Right. She also said her grandmother was a traditional woman, and her being a traditional woman, guess what? She was married. She had a husband that provided for her. She had a husband that left her acres of land. You know what I mean? Our sisters they're not even getting married today, so they don't got no husband that's going to leave them these type of things. They out there independent, trying to do it for themselves. Why? Because the cause and effect of slavery. Go ahead and let's start reading.
Let's go, Kaz.
The breaking process of the African woman.
Uh-huh.
Take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desires willingly.
See if she will submit to your desires willing. Not your desire, also Eli. Not your desire, also Yell. No, the slave master desire.
Because what did it say her desire should be to?
Her husband.
Her husband.
Her own husband.
So if she's not, if her desire is not towards her husband, who is her desire to?
Right. And then you got her friend.
Her slave master.
Right, exactly. And then you remember
even today.
That's the point when we say if you're not listening to your husband, you're listening to a man.
Right.
Uh-huh.
You don't want to say you listening to the so-called white man, but if you ain't listening to your husband and you ain't got no husband, you listening to that white man, that slave master. He's telling you your desire is what his will is.
Right. And remember in that video, it wasn't just her. She had other women in her ear. So it's not just her. This is a problem between with a majority of our women.
Right.
This is a problem. And if that's what they pushing, then how are the kids gonna come out?
Because Esau have set up shop in their brain.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So he don't have to necessarily be there. Okay, he got his minions to do the bidding.
They got the Willy Wonka ticket.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right, and then now what? That sister done filed divorce from her husband that was providing for her.
Idiot.
Right.
But
And
go
now
ahead.
what's she feeling? Remorse.
Right.
I'm stupid because
Right.
I'm listening to women that don't have. She said, "You're listening to women that don't have a man.
Right. Now, mind you,
You don't have. How you? They counsel for themselves. How's she gonna tell you? It said, don't seek counsel for a coward to go to war. So why are you listening to a woman that don't got a man?
Right.
Now, don't forget, this is the cause and effect of what slavery have done to us. Now, these women, our women, are submitting themselves to the desires of their slave master. And then that video was a cause and effect. But let's read on.
Test her in every way because she is the most important factor for good economics.
Uh-huh.
If she knows any signs, if she shows any signs of resistance in submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract the last bit of bitch out of her. Take care not to kill her, for in doing so, you spoil good economics.
So start right there. What does that part do? That part right there installs fear into the woman. You know what I mean? Now she's feared. She's so scared of you to the point that she'll raise her son to be physically strong, but weak mentally. Now you got these effeminate. Would you say you knew somebody with heels on and eyelashes and all that stuff?
Yeah.
This is the type.
I ain't know nobody with here. No, let's clear that up.
Yeah. With the butterfly back.
right.
Seen them with heels. But these are the type of men that's being raised up now. Why? Because of that fear all the way back from slavery. All right, because she got bullwhipped and all of that.
And that part right there says, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract the last bit of bitch out of her, the last bit of righteousness out of her.
Right. Right.
You got to beat that's coming out like Tobit.
Right, the last bit of desire to your husband out of her. Because it said in the beginning, take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to the slave master's desires. All right, so when they use that bullwhip, it's to break that desire that confidence that she had in you, the husband, the man of the house, to break that confidence and put that confidence in him through fear. All right, and that's a cause and effect that we see today. Go ahead, let's read on. Come on.
When in complete submission, she will train her offspring in the early years to submit to labor when they become of age.
She would train her. She would train her men to be weak and effeminate, and she would train her daughter to be independent women and not have their desire towards their husband. Come on, let's read on. Y'all can jump in.
Yeah. I want to touch that point. Read that part again. When in submission. When in complete submission.
When in complete submission, she will train her offspring in the early years to submit to labor when they become of age.
So what that's talking about now, get Isaiah 3:12. This is what it's talking about.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 3 and verse 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them.
So when the officer brought out that a woman shall compass a man, the structure of the household was for the men to discipline these children, right? To do what? To instill in them some type of discipline so that they do what? They become good, upstanding citizens, right? But now it says, read it again.
Well, good slave.
A good slave. Read that part again.
As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them.
Come on.
O my people, they which lead thee,
Which are the women.
cause thee to err,
They're causing you to error from the commandments. Go ahead.
and destroy the way of thy paths.
And it's destroying our children. How? Let's get the other effect of what happens or what happened through slavery. Violence. Get that. Let's pull that up. Let's look at, because many of these young men and women nowadays, if they're not being raised in a household with a father and a mother, they're being raised by I think you said something earlier also about actors, basketball players,
Right.
rappers. Okay, so all of these are what you would role models, right? So let's look at these role models. Just in the past, give me the Wikipedia article first. Right? So the Wikipedia article. Yeah. So I had to scroll through and I said, well, let me see how many rappers have died since, rap kind of came into session. So we want to say rap started in the late 80s, so to speak. Right? So scroll up, put it on the screen. Right? So these are murders. These are actual murders. Okay, these are people, that's why I said shot and killed. Right? So you see maybe 19, so every couple of years or so, right? Now, get up to 2015. So now you start looking at 2013, 2015, 4, 5, 2016. Scroll up. Now, 2020, we was on lockdown. Most of the country was on lockdown, right?
Yeah.
Scroll up. In 2020 alone, you got more deaths than pretty much 1987 down to 2001. You got more deaths in 2020 alone, but we was on lockdown most of the year. Right. On lockdown. So now let me show you something, because they're giving you significant musicians. Right. They're not telling you about the young men that they have a little bit of that clout that they call clout chasing.
Underground
rappers. The underground, the undercard rappers, so to speak, but they still have some segue to the community, right? So when it says they that lead thee cause thee the err, right? If we already looked at the Willie Lynch letter. If her desire is not to her husband, her desire is to who? Her slave master, because he's going to beat every little bit out of her. So what's left in her is going to be what he put in her.
Right.
And what he puts in her is going to go into the children.
Right.
So now you have all of these rappers, and this is 2020. Scroll down just a little bit. Let me see. Oh, no, stop right there. Arguably. Read that, Officer Kaz.
Arguably, one of the most devastating deaths in 2020 was the passing of Brooklyn rapper Pop Smoke. The charismatic rhymer who's credited for elevating the Brooklyn drill rap scene was shot and killed in Los Angeles on February 19th, 2020.
So let's just scroll down and just look at some of the names. So you got Pop Smoke right there. So you got who else?
Later on in that year, you want me to just read the names?
Just the names. We already know they got shot and killed.
FBG Duck, King Von.
Come on down.
Malik B.
He died from natural causes. He's from the Roots.
Okay.
I think he's natural causes as well. He died from heart complications. I just want the ones that shot and killed. Okay, born in 1999. So these are the young men that we read in the Willie Lynch letter, right? These are the young men.
But can I just make you again the cause and effect of slavery? Our people at one point, these men are 20 years old, around that age.
1997.
What was his name? Fred Hampton. He died at a young age, but he didn't die. Excuse me. He was assassinated.
Right.
He was executed. Right. For fighting for the rights of his people. But our young men nowadays is dying over nonsense and BS. This is the cause and effect of slavery. These are the things. This is because our people have become that old lion. They don't even want to fight no more. All they want to do is be selfish and just niggas. But go ahead.
1997, he shot. Come on. 1994, drug overdose. That's another part of the effects of slavery. Is what? What is our coping mechanism now? Drugs. Is substance abuse. Okay. That's COVID. Or at least that's what they say. Gunshot wound, another one.
Whenever you get a chance.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me get scripture right here. 2nd Ezra 5 and 8.
Bring it out,
Yeah. 2nd Ezra 5 and 8.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 5 and verse 8.
Back up what Officer bringing out.
There shall be a confusion also in many places.
So we living in the land of confusion right now. You know, like Officer Nahshon just brought out, a woman shall compass a man. That's confusion.
Right.
You know, read on.
And the fire shall be oft sent out again, and the wild beast shall change.
This is the point I want right here. Read on.
And the wild beasts shall change their places.
Right here.
And menstruous women shall bring forth monsters.
So unclean women bringing forth monsters, raising up monsters. Okay, going around robbing, killing each other. Okay, killing each other over the smallest matters. Okay, read that part again. And menstruous what?
And menstruous women shall bring forth monsters.
And menstruous, unclean women bringing forth monsters. They got the murder rate out the roof.
Hey,
and go ahead, Kaz.
I was going to ask if I could play something real. It's quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it goes with your point, Officer Ezekiel, and with yours, Officer Eli. Post that video that I just sent to the channel. I just sent it to the channel. This is the menstruous women that you're talking about, because these women right here are the ones that's going to go out. They're going to have babies out of wedlock, and they're going to be the ones raising the babies that they didn't want because the dude that they slept with is going to leave them.
And that's heavy that you said that they're going to raise these babies that they don't want. So when you don't want something,
do you take care of it?
Right. That's the point. That's the point right there.
Watch this. It's supposed to be the dude's reaction is go ahead, put it on the screen. The dude's reaction is supposed to be comedy, but what she's doing is what he's reacting to. So go ahead. It's a stitched video.
Ain't no men out here. Ain't no men out here. Where's the men at? Double cheeked up. Double cheeked up. Ain't no men out here.
Look, he hiding under the car.
We out here.
All right, that's it.
Shit.
That's it. He hiding under the car.
No, let it play. Let it play. So they got to get the feel of what these sisters, like he said, they bring forth. Look at the spirit.
Right.
Look at the spirit behind it.
So just imagine if she have a child.
Right.
You know, then when you see the script, when the scriptures say, "And mistress women shall bring forth monsters," he's gonna be a damn monster.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
terrorizing his community.
And not just he or she.
Yeah.
That's a monster right there. That's why he underneath that damn car. He terrified. What is that out there? That's a monster.
He seen from afar. He's like, oh. Let me hide.
Yeah.
Right.
He dove up. He dove up on the car.
He slid under that thing.
But you know what? I'm gonna segue into something about what we just talking about, because we're talking about these women bringing forth monsters. The effects of slavery, a lot of times, especially having children out of wedlock, brings depression and especially fighting back and forth for children. Right. Let's look at an example of what can happen when you're going through this system because you're not. It says marriage is honorable. You're not married. You're dealing with a certain sister. You have a child from her. Now you're going back and forth through custody battles, and vice versa from woman to the man, right? Let's get the video about the brother. Play that video. So depression is a big part of an effect of slavery that happens to especially our people. Mm-hmm. Right. So let's see what can happen. This Deuteronomy 28 right here. We can never read Deuteronomy 28 too much. Right. Because it's so much that's going on in our society that from 15 on down that it is generational. That's why I said it'll be upon thy seed forever. The effects of what happened to us is going to transcend through our ancestors all the way to forever, right, to our children. Play that video.
That I would be doing this, but I gotta make it quick. For everybody out there that supported me and really knows what's going on, thank you all. I've been going through a custody battle. I've been going through having my ex-wife say I molested my children and all kinds of craziness. Been fighting for custody for 3 years. So, you know, shit has been real crazy. What's up, Oliver? You know about this. Going through it with my ex-wife, blah, blah, blah. So, start dating somebody new, and she got pregnant, and, we got in a fight. First thing she does, she's threatening that she's going to do the same thing. You're never going to see your kids, blah, blah, blah. It's the holidays, man. I don't have no family, nothing. Anyway, I just did something crazy, man. I just shot my ex-girlfriend in the head, yo. Felt like a dream. Like, I never thought I would be that guy. I can't go to prison, so the person that really started my depression and all of this is my ex-wife. So she next, and then I'm going to do myself too. But I just wanted to say this to people. Don't play with people's emotions, man. Don't lie on these men. Oh, here's my ex-wife right here.
All right, that's it. That's it. And that's that we got to understand that the effects of slavery transcends through us. Like, that's, just think about that. Mm-hmm. And because we don't have to, because the brothers, we don't have the scriptures, like that, the brother had nothing.
He don't know what else. He was lost. He don't know what else to wait. Nothing. He don't know what else to do.
He said, "I ain't got no family."
It's first and foremost. You talking about this happened last week,
right?
So in his mind, he set up on Esau's holiday. He's like, "Yo, Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, it's the holidays. I ain't got nobody." The depression, his mind is crazy. And then he's dealing with his kids and so forth.
Well, you want to get a Deuteronomy 28 on that?
Yeah. Let's get that Deuteronomy 28. What I wanted is get 32 and read down to 34.
Verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with them, fail with longing for them all the day long. And there shall be no might in thine hand. Mm-hmm. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors.
Hold on for a second. So in 32, it says that your sons and daughters will be given to another people, right? But even when you think about that, just the fact that you're going through a custody battle, you're fighting with the woman that you should be with, mm-hmm, to rear your children up, and yet you have a man that's in between y'all, a system that's in between y'all, mm-hmm, judging you based off of whether you can deal with your children or not.
Right.
Okay, and that's why it says your eyes shall fail with longing, because there's nothing you can do about it, mm-hmm, because that Hebrews 13:4 wasn't applied, mm-hmm, and we don't have the scriptures to set that family structure. We do now, but mm-hmm, he didn't have that to set the family structure. What is he left with? He's mad. What can he do? There's nothing he can do now, but that's the result of the effects of what slavery has done to us.
All right.
Read on.
The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up.
Come on.
And thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
You shall be only oppressed and crushed. Crush what? Your spirit. Who you are as a person. They're going to crush you, destroy you completely. Come on.
So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see.
Because everything you see around you, it says, surely oppression shall make a wise man mad.
Right.
What about if you don't have, this says the scriptures make you wise. So what if you don't have the scriptures?
That's what I want
You
to touch
just
on,
as
too.
mad as the brother that has the scriptures.
Right.
Go ahead, officer.
I wanted to touch on that too. You said, surely it maketh oppression maketh a wise man mad. We've been talking about the causes and effect of slavery, and we've been going kind of not one direction, but we've been going towards the bad of the cause and effect. Meaning, you see how our women are conducting themselves. You're seeing depression in our communities. You're seeing drugs in our communities, and we all seen these things in our communities. So what's also another cause and effect? Now, the cause and effect is that you got brothers and sisters that's ready to rise up for their community and make a change in their community. Get Ezekiel chapter 37 and verse 10. Now you're starting to see a difference. Now we're not following the wrong ways. Now we're going to follow the right way on how to move. We're going to follow what the Most High God says. We're going to follow what this Bible says, and we're going to make a difference. Now, Esau, you got something to be scared of. Now, you diabolical beast, you got something to be scared of. Now you got a problem on your hands because of the atrocities that you've done to our people. Go ahead and read that.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 37 and verse 10. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them.
The breath is the law, statutes, and commandments. Now we're going to take care of our wives and our children. All right, and then we're going to raise up the nation. We're going to rebuild that nation that you took away, that you destroyed. Go ahead.
And they lived and stood up upon their feet.
You see Israel standing upon their feet right now as you speak.
That's
You watching them right now in the Bible, the book of our fathers. You watching the prophets rise up on their feet. No longer we going to fall in your traps, your snares, and none of that. Your spoils. We ain't spoiled no more. We going to wake our people up as it was commanded. Go ahead, read on. Finish it off.
And stood up upon their feet an exceeding great army.
You see that? That's what they scared of, that exceeding great army. That's why they want to keep you in sin, Israel. Because once that exceeding great army establishes itself and wake up, guess what? Esau, that diabolical beast, his time is up. It's over.
That's right.
Go ahead, also. That's all I got.
Get that in Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians. We not playing no more. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3. Come on.
The book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3.
Start at 2.
Verse 2. That ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand.
Come on.
Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
It said we got to reveal that diabolical beast and what he did to us. We got to bring that out. Come on.
Verse 4. Whoso opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God.
How is he showing himself to be God? He's putting up a Edomite picture of Caesar Borgia and saying that that's Jesus the Christ.
Right.
He's going to the moon. He's doing all of these things, putting him in the seat of God as if he is God. No, we got to reveal that diabolical beast and what he did to the children. Come on, you.
No, you done?
Come on.
Let me get because we wrapping up right now. Let me get Ephesians 5 and 14. Cause this is how we got to move now. We can't be those same traps that he set for us. We can't be falling into those traps no more.
Right.
We got the Bible. Our eyes been open. You know what I'm saying? This is how we got to move. Read that.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 14. Wherefore he saith, awake, thou that sleepest.
Because we've been asleep for a long time. The Lord said, awake, thou that sleepest. Read on.
And arise from the dead. And Christ shall give thee light. See then that ye walk circumspectly.
So hold on for a second. He said, and Christ shall give thee light. Who brought us in this truth? Who called us? Christ did.
Right.
And he has given us light.
Right.
We're a light to our people. Our people coming into this truth, repenting because they seeing the examples of brothers that who
making changes
in their life. They're doing things differently from how they once did. Read on.
That's right.
See then that ye walk circumspectly.
So he said, see then, now that you seeing that, now that you see that you walk circumspectly, be careful how you do things now. Don't just live the life that you once lived. Be careful how you walk. Read on.
Not as fools.
You want to say something?
You finished that?
No, it's some more than that.
Go ahead.
Not as fools, but as wise.
So now don't walk like a fool, because we was fools in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Now we know the truth. So walk circumspect. Be careful about how you be wise when you walk. Read on.
Not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil.
Because the days are evil. We ain't got long on this earth.
Right.
Okay. Not how we see it. So we got to get our minds right. Go ahead. Austin.
That's right. Jump up. Go to Ephesians 4. Ephesians 4 and start at verse 22.
Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 22. That ye put off concerning the former conversation, the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lusts, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind.
And that's what we need to do now. We got to, the effects of slavery don't have to be, we don't have to burden ourselves with the effects of slavery anymore. We got the Bible now.
Right.
We have the scriptures now.
Right.
Come on.
And be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that ye put on the new man, which after God is created in righteousness and true holiness.
And true holiness. Y'all got anything else?
That's it.
No.
Kaz, you got anything?
Nah, that was fine.
Hey, we want to tell y'all, we thank y'all for tuning into the Bible, the book of our fathers. We're going to close it out on that.
Yes, sir. Don't neglect to give alms. For those who would like to give alms, fill out an envelope and place it in the alms box. To give alms online, donate to IUIC Concord via PayPal at iuic.concord.nc@israelunite.org. Also, don't neglect to give alms to the Booster Club at iuic.fundraising@israelunite.org.
Was that it?
All praises. That's it.
All praises. Hey, we wanna send up prayers for the leadership. Safe travels.
Right.
I'm Officer Eli. This is the Bible, the book of our fathers. Oh, we want to give a shout out to the technical crew of the Bible, the book of our fathers. Without them, this would not be happening. So we want to show them some love. Officer Azaria, Officer Kaziel, Officer Yehoshua, send up prayers for Officer Yehoshua, Officer Gidron, Officer Israel. Soldier Gidron, Soldier Israel, Officer Gidron, Soldier Israel, Soldier Hosea, Soldier Uriah, Soldier Ezekiel. We got Brother Menashe in the booth helping out as well.
That's right.
All right. So we want to thank y'all for tuning in to another show of the Bible, the book of our fathers. Safe travels for all the leadership that's going to be traveling. Be safe at camp. Myself, I'm Officer Eli.
Shalom, Israel. Also, you here. Most High Christ bless.
Hey, shalom, Israel. Happy Sabbath. Also, Nahshon.
Shalom. Happy Sabbath, y'all.
Hey, shalom, Israel. Happy Sabbath. Most High Christ bless.
Most High Christ bless.